Reach is flow state, but it launched rough, buggy, and broken. I'm here to tell you it's climbed out of that hole, and what's left feels like Uncharted meets Mirror's Edge in VR. Reach is a parkour puzzler at heart with a dash of combat, and it's available on every major VR platform. It's going to take you around 10 to 12 hours to complete. I'm BMacVR, and if you're new here, welcome. I hope you stick around. I do a lot of VR reviews, both games and gear, so hit subscribe if that's your thing. And quick thanks to AMVR. They make some really great VR accessories, and with the holiday sales coming up, you can save an extra 10% with promo code BMacVR. Links down below. It's an affiliate link, so I do get a small kickback, and that really does help out the channel. And I wouldn't recommend this stuff if I didn't believe in it myself. Alright, let's get back to Reach. In my 10 to 12 hour playthrough, the bugs were minor and quite frankly forgettable. I fell through the level a few times, had an occasional loading error, but nothing a quick restart couldn't fix. And Reach has a generous autosave system, so I never felt like I really lost a lot of progress. It's safe to say it's in a good place now. Performance-wise, it was rock solid on my 5080. It didn't break a sweat, and even while recording and streaming on Discord at the same time. Visually, it can be stunning, and I mean stunning. There are moments where the sci-fi vistas, they just stop you in your tracks. I do think we could have used a few more biomes to explore after a while. The cave temples did kind of lose their luster after a bit. Textures are generally solid, though yeah, you'll spot plenty of low-res ones as well. There's not much in the way of dynamic shadows or fancy lighting, so Reach hasn't broken free of its quest bones entirely. But the world still feels immersive, and Reach is in the upper tier of PCVR and PSVR 2 titles when it comes to visuals. Okay, on to gameplay. The entire time I played Reach, I kept thinking, this is the parkour system that Assassin's Creed Nexus wanted. It's effortless, it's instant flow state, it's instant immersion, and it's awesome. To jump, you hold the button and fling your arms upwards, just like in real life. I was a bit skeptical at first. Gesture-based jumping, it can be a bit hit or miss, but after a few minutes, I was sold. Honestly, I want every VR game to handle jumping like this from now on. It's games like this with motion controls like this that give VR a purpose. It's plain and simple. A video game should be fun to control, and Reach's controls were a joy from start to finish. I caught myself just running and jumping up and down the hallways for no reason. Sure, that's small, it's dumb, but it's fun, and that's a good sign. That's immersion. Some VR games just have that it factor with motion controls, and Reach is one of them. The climbing in Reach feels just as good as the parkour. Before long, you'll forget you're even pressing buttons. It's that natural, though by no means simple. You'll unlock new climbing and parkour skills throughout your playthrough, which keeps things fresh and fun. Over your playthrough, you'll get things like a Captain America style shield that you can use as a ledge, and some grappling hooks that once again prove we need Spider-Man in VR. Now, the climbing surfaces look both obvious and natural in the environment, reinforcing that immersion. If it looks like you can climb it, there's a good chance you can. Reach is a lot of climbing and a lot of parkour. In fact, it is most of the game, but don't let that dissuade you because they really nailed it here. And there are some extremely cinematic moments and action star sequences here. They are tense, blood pumping, and hands down the most memorable moments of this game. There are also a lot of hidden collectibles scattered throughout that are like mini little puzzles themselves. And I'm not sure what collecting all these little statues does, aside from bragging rights, but they were enjoyable to find. The game is also just littered with hidden upgrades, stuff like increased max health, larger inventory, or stat increases. Nothing too revolutionary, but these two have a puzzle-like nature, so exploration feels rewarding. But okay, let's move on to combat. Combat, it definitely takes a backseat to the parkour here. It's there to mostly break up pacing, and overall it's fun, but just a tad easy. It's kind of good, not great. Your main weapon is a bow with a few different elemental arrow types. Nothing too groundbreaking, but it is satisfying to rip off headshot after headshot on these machines. Now, I do want to call out the shocking arrow though. It lets you steal an enemy's weapon and use them yourselves. Now, I didn't really rely on it too much, but those stolen weapons, think limited ammo, but massive damage. You can stash a weapon or two in the game's small inventory system, which is a nice touch, but again, I just didn't use it that often, and inventory, it's just really not a big part of this game. My main gripe with the combat is it's just a tad too easy. A fully charged headshot is a one-shot kill, and most enemies, they don't really push you hard enough to kind of force different tactics. And healing is also quick and everywhere. The enemy variety is decent, but we could have used enemies that have different weak points or ones with maybe different behaviors to kind of shake it up a little bit. And I'm being picky here, but it honestly feels like the devs were worried that you might get hurt in this game, because before, during, and after every single fight, you're just surrounded by healing mushrooms, and overall, the resources are just a tad too plentiful for my taste. I'm curious. I love a challenging VR game, ones where healing is limited. But maybe I'm just a psychopath. What do you prefer? A good challenge that's like a fight for survival like me? Or do you like that more cinematic power fantasy approach where you just feel unstoppable? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, one more thing to mention about combat is that there is actually a stealth system in Reach where you can sneak up on enemies and rip out their spines. And it feels pretty cool, but it also feels a bit underdeveloped. And honestly, I just didn't really use the stealth system very much, but it is there. The weapons in Reach are weighty, and perhaps a bit too weighty and sluggish for my taste. It was certainly noticeable, and if it was any more sluggish, I would call it a problem. But as it is, I think it's fine. But okay, let's move on to story, and then we'll round things out with the verdict. The story is mostly told through voiceovers and conversations with your companion robot, and honestly, it's a good one. It feels well thought out with a few solid surprises along the way, and it'll hook you right from the very start. The environments also do a great job of reinforcing the narrative too. There are plenty of scripted moments that pull you in and keep you engaged from start to finish. The cast, it is pretty small. I would have liked to meet a few more characters along the way and also maybe see a bit more mystery sprinkled into the story overall. But in the end, I think people here will really enjoy the story. And the ending, it sticks the landing, both from an action perspective and a storytelling one. It's satisfying all the way through. Okay, on to the verdict. In my opinion, Reach is an essential VR title to own. It's a great experience from start to finish, with a parkour system that really shows off what makes VR special. The story is solid, the production quality is high, and while the combat, it's a tad on the easy side, it's still a lot of fun. And Reach is absolutely going to land in my top 10 VR games of the year. And that's it, everyone. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful. I do honest reviews to help you spend your money wisely. And if you like this one and want to see more, check out some of my other videos. And of course, consider subscribing so you don't miss what's coming up next. Thanks again, and I'll catch you next time.